Last time on Gleeboot, we talked about the Glee Project Season 2, including math fetishist Michael, bland white bread, who's also part Cuban, Blake, and Tony Award winner. I'm losing her name.
Oh my God, what was her? Allie.
Allie, Tony Award winner Allie. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And it's been a bit of a break, but now we're back to talk about Glee Season 4.
Yay!
Woohoo!
The fresh seasons.
The lost seasons.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just gonna come up front and just say this episode, like we should have stopped after season 3. There's no more Glee. Like, so.
Gleeboot.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to Gleeboot, the show where we get drunk and talk about rebooting Glee one episode at a time. I'm Cullen.
It is I, Alyssa.
I am Hannah.
And we have a special guest, one of our good friends from grad school and a fellow podcaster, T.
Yay!
Hi everybody.
Welcome, T.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. Thank you, Cullen, Alyssa, Heather. I really appreciate you guys inviting me on the show.
Inside joke.
I think we've talked about the Heather thing, though.
We definitely have.
Yeah.
The listeners are now inside
The inside
this joke.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's an even bigger inside joke.
Because, the Heather thing, it always makes me smile when I think about Hannah being called Heather.
T, you'll appreciate this. Not only I'm used to it because my cousin's name is Heather and she's been on the podcast, but I also have a roommate named Heather. I'm surrounded by Heathers.
That's great. Well, thank you guys for having me, and I'm excited. I'm more excited just to see you guys and to talk about Glee.
Yeah, we were talking right before, and we realized that it's literally been almost exactly 3 years since I've seen T. It's been a couple years since you guys have seen him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, fortunately, I stay the same, so it's no different than you saw me 2 or 3 years ago.
You know, in this crazy couple of years of all these changes in the world, it's nice to know that T stays the same.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. For your post-pandemic, it's me.
Good deal.
So today, well, before we get into the episode, T, what is your journey with the show Glee?
Well, Cullen, I did a little research last night, and I realized that I have seen 3 episodes of the show Glee. I've seen the show The New Rachel, which I watched because Hannah told me to. I watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show episode because John Stamos was in that. I'm a big John Stamos fan. He was in a movie called Never Too Young to Die. He was really good in that. And he was, of course, in Full House. And then I saw the episode where they sing the song about not believing or stop believing or soming.
Don't stop believing.
That's the one.
The pilot?
Yo, is it the pilot? Then I've seen those 3. However, Leah Michelle, who plays Rachel, I guess, went to my high school. So that's my other connection to Glee.
That's so cool.
She was a few years ahead of me.
Do you remember her in high school?
No, but I remember stories about her, which I don't know if you want me to actually tell the stories that I heard about her.
Yeah.
Well, she was not.
Listen, the world has heard some stories about Leah Michelle. I'm sure there's nothing worse you could give us.
I can confirm those. I can confirm the Ellen rumors. I can confirm Leah Michelle, from what I heard. Well, first of all, she never says she's from my hometown. She says she's from New York, which maybe she was born there, but she went to my high school in New Jersey. So that always ticks me off whenever they say that. But she was apparently not the the friendliest gal, the friendliest bulb on the bush. That she was not someone you would want to sit with at lunchtime necessarily. I never heard any good story about her ever. Not that people were really talking to me in high school, but from what I overheard the other kids talking about, it sounded like she was not too. But she was a couple of years ahead of me. But if she wants to go out on a date with me, that's another story.
She's married and has a kid.
Your story, then.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about her. There's one person on the show today, which I'm going to be very excited to talk about, who I was really excited to see in this show. I have a lot of strong opinions on her, but that's as much as my relationship with Glee goes. So you guys will have to fill in the many blanks in my knowledge.
No worries.
Yeah, honestly, I think this is a good episode to come into because there's a lot of new stuff for us too that we're gonna have questions about. So we're all lost.
Yes. Just a very good word for this episode.
Some
Lost.
wine pouring ASMR for you guys.
So, what are we drinking today?
Yes, what are we drinking?
I was just given a Petite Syrah from my boyfriend out there.
You're what?
Yeah, my boyfriend. We'll have to talk about that later.
Hannah, you don't update me. You used to update me every single day. You used to come over to my apartment. We used to go over to Scoozy or O'Leary's, and you used to update me. Shame on you.
I know. I will keep you updated more. But anyway, it's from Oak Grove. It's from California, 2019. It's been sitting in my fridge. So I'm sure Alyssa will appreciate that. It's been in my fridge instead of just on my counter.
Well done.
And I think that's only because my friend who gave it to me, she gave me the open bottle from her fridge and I put it in mine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm drinking.
I'm drinking from your housewarming gifts part 2 that arrived.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot there was a part 2.
It is a brunette nut brown ale from Nebraska Brewing Company.
That
Is
sounds
it
pretty
good? I haven't had any of it yet.
It's good. I like it.
Nice. I am drinking a watermelon White Claw.
Are they good? Don't you like them?
It's freaking delicious.
That and mango are the best.
It's so good. I love, first of all, I love watermelon. So saying that I love something that's watermelon flavored, that's a big deal for me.
Yep.
This is really, really, really good.
Yeah. And I also discovered you can get all of just like individual flavors in just like their own packs. You don't have to get the multi packs, which is also good. Maybe it's not like that in California. It is here.
I'm going to have to search specifically for that then.
Yeah, keep an eye out for it. Because I literally just saw an all mango pack and an all watermelon pack the other day. And I was like,
I'll have to come up with a Glee cocktail for watermelon White Claw, like the February firework with the Trouty mouth.
Oh my goodness.
oh, yeah. Yeah, hopefully there'll be a new character you'll be inspired by. You're like, oh, yeah, that person, they're a watermelon White Claw.
Are you drinking anything, T?
I have a bottle of water here that was established in 1845. This company. I actually don't drink. I don't drink anymore. Very much anymore. Isn't that amazing? Mostly because I've been on a keto diet since a very long time, October. Although last night I went out and had sushi, which kind of screwed that whole thing up. But
Wait, since October you've been on keto?
Yeah.
Holy crap!
I'm
That's
back
amazing.
down. I'm as svelte as I was when you first laid eyes on me all those years ago.
Sushi's not keto because of the rice?
Because of the rice. But I've been so strict with myself, so I cheated a little bit.
Honestly, since October, that's awesome.
Some sushi.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Sushi.
Next time, just get sashimi.
I would have, but I wanted sushi. Because sometimes I can't tell the difference between which. I know one has rice, one doesn't have rice. Although it took 2 hours. It was the slowest service you've ever seen. 2 hours for a piece of raw fish. I mean, I don't know what they were doing back then. They must have gone and fished it out of the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm just having some very tasty water. And I watch Hannah drink, which I miss doing.
Yeah, so T, you took the quizzes.
I did take the quizzes.
What Glee character are you?
Okay, let me see. I got to open up my phone
I'm so
here.
excited for this.
I am too.
Does anyone have any guesses?
That's a good question.
Who's Sylvester?
Yeah.
Is he even an option?
I don't know.
I actually don't know who the
Who
options
did
are.
we assign T when we assigned everyone in the program Glee characters?
Oh, that's something that I don't think T even knows. Now he knows. I should have the note somewhere.
I think he was Sue.
I wanna say that's probably right.
The cheer coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one I know. want me to tell you which one I was? Okay, want to know which Glee character you are? Then spend it. I am Santana Lopez. Now listen to the description. Okay? You're funny, snarky, and stylish. You have no problem speaking your mind or telling people off. You're blunt when your friends ask for advice, but it comes from a place of love. That's pretty accurate, I would say.
Yeah, except for the stylish part.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
Got him.
What was the other one you asked me?
Your Glee boyfriend.
Oh, my Glee boyfriend. At this point, I'll take anything. Everyone has a boyfriend from Glee. Here's yours. I don't even know who this one. I don't think he was in the episode. Blaine Anderson.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
my
he's in
Glee
the
boyfriend.
episode. Yeah.
Was he in the episode?
Yeah.
He's the guy that sang with the cups.
Oh, okay. He's wearing a robe. I guess that's what's changing my perception of his face or something. He has a
That's
graduation
Darren Criss. God's
Yeah.
miracle, Darren Criss.
Oh,
That's my Glee character and my Glee boyfriend. One and the
we
same.
have the same boyfriend, Cullen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cat fight.
Those results, yes, I am very pleased with those results.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So we're here to talk about season 4, episode 1, The New Rachel. We're entering into the seasons that shouldn't have happened.
Pretty much.
And it's all new. And we get some new faces.
A lot of new faces.
A lot of new faces. So my notes are 5 words because I did not write my notes this week. I know, I was a little unprepared, unlike T. I have new Glee members. We had that storyline.
Mm-hmm.
We had the Rachel storyline. So Rachel, and then Kurt. I have the Kurt storyline.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Accurate.
Yeah. So let's start with our heroine. Let's start with Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel's in NIADA, New York Academy of Dramatic Arts. I can't believe I know that.
Which does not exist in real life.
Not a real place.
Yeah.
I looked it up. It's not real.
Yeah.
And she's in a dance class with the one and only Kate Hudson as her teacher.
This was so disorienting. There was just a lot of new stuff happening. And then I was just like, oh my God, though, her abs. Wow. I was so impressed.
What, Kate Hudson abs?
Did you not see her abs?
I did.
What, was she wearing a crop top or something?
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
I definitely was not paying attention to her abs.
Oh, yeah. It was,
You missed
I'm impressed.
Yeah. So yeah, it's because I walked in and Alyssa had just started the episode and I was like, oh, do you want to watch it together? I still need to watch this.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she had gotten farther because I'm like, they wouldn't start off with Rachel in the entirely new environment.
That's what
but
I
they
thought.
Yep.
did. That's how the
It was just a
episode
brand new
started.
Classroom. First
And
scene.
it was lots of anger happening in the scene and also within me.
Yeah. She was so mean. Okay, my one question here is why always does Glee have to portray teachers as like terrible people? I don't think they've had one teacher who, number one, knows how to do their job, and number two is like a decent human.
What about
being.
Miss Dusenberry?
She
doesn't know how to do her job?
We
thought the Nazis won.
No, that's Miss Haggish.
Oh.
Miss Dusenberry was the one that wouldn't let Puck.
Oh, yes.
Sleep with her.
I
Yeah.
forgot about her.
she's I think we said like she's the only teacher. Like give her the entire school. Like let her do everything.
Yes. She should be principal.
Yeah. Glee has this thing where the teachers are bad at their jobs and they probably became teachers because they follow that adage of those who can't teach.
Or those who can't do teach.
Yeah, those who can't
But
do
these
teach.
people also can't teach.
Yeah. So that's what's but And then the things Kate Hudson says, I wrote it down. If you're not suffering from body dysmorphia, then you're not doing it right or something. And I was like,
ooh,
Jesus Christ, that's where we start.
Yeah.
And it just goes up from there in not a good way, though.
Because she calls someone Muffin Top and is like, you need to only eat
rice cakes and
lip tag?
I don't remember.
Something. Ipecac or, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Is it like a diuretic?
It's what you give that to someone to make them puke.
Oh,
What?
cool.
If you get you give it to them and they throw it up I think it's actually outlawed nowadays.
Ew.
Like you violently throw up from Ipecac.
Huh.
That's disgusting.
That's why you brought me on the show, to fill you in on.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't fact check on this show very rarely, so that's why you bring the guests, because they're way smarter than we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's also putting her student in danger.
Yep.
Yeah. She's a monster. Can't stand her. And then Rachel rolls her eyes at her and she calls her Miss David Schwimmer.
What? I don't know who David Schwimmer is.
That's Ross
He's
from
Ross
Friends.
from Friends.
Oh. Is he Jewish? Is this the connection here? What's the deal?
I think so. I also was like, I don't quite know what's going on with this reference.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I
once
mean, Schwimmer kind of sounds like a Jewish name, but I don't actually know if it is.
yeah. Leah Michelle isn't Jewish, though. I always like to point that out.
Yep, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And then there's some really derogatory stuff about Ohio that I have not heard. I did not remember this from my first time, obviously, watching it. Kate Hudson, she called Ohio a giant turd that Michigan can't pinch off. And she also said that Ohio is worse than Iowa. Iowa is definitely worse.
Yeah. As a Michigan person, I was like, wait, Iowa's worse than Ohio. The only thing Iowa has is the Music Man. But then when she was like, it's a turd, I was like, yeah.
Rude. I resent all of that.
Ohio has Chicago, right? My geography is correct.
No,
is it not?
Chicago is
Very
in Illinois.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Alyssa, you need to get back to the Midwest stat.
No, I need to go back to the
geography
Midwest
class.
and retake my 3rd grade class. I'm so bad at geography.
Ohio has Columbus and Cleveland and Toledo.
Okay.
In Lima, Ohio.
Yeah.
I've heard that Cleveland is Cleveland.
It's called the Mistake by the Lake.
Yep.
So, and I'll be there in July. So,
Oh.
but yeah, I was sitting there, I was like, I'm going to come up with a witty comeback for how Michigan is to Ohio. And I couldn't. So I guess I'm just a turd. So yeah. So T, how was that as your first introduction to this episode of Glee?
Well, I had absolutely no idea what the hell was going on for about, because I thought that she went to school in a Glee club and she's at some like college in New York, and I thought it was someplace else. So then I used our old friend Wikipedia to explain to me that something had happened, that she had graduated.
Something had happened.
So is this whole season like she's in one place and everyone else is in another place?
Oh yeah. So
that's
it's
strange.
Oh yeah.
That never happened on Golden Girls. They all stayed four in the house.
Lots of Golden Girls references.
That's what I want to say every episode now. You know what? This never happened on Golden Girls.
Honestly, we should. That should be our match.
Well, that means I'd have to watch Golden Girls.
No,
You mean you
probably
went to
say
school
it.
with me for how long? You never watched one episode all the time? All my references to Golden
That
Girls?
is correct.
She
That is
didn't visit
correct.
your couch as much as I did.
It's
That's
true.
She wasn't
Always had-
forced into
always
this
had it
situation.
Yeah. Chances are, if you told me to watch it, I deliberately
You
Didn't
should,
watch
for
it.
for your own mental health. Everyone should enjoy a good episode of Golden Girls. It's like a toothbrush in your brain, cleans it right up.
Oh, that does not sound
It
good.
burns.
So Kate Hudson is Cassandra July,
Oh, that's
the
her
dance
name.
teacher. Yeah. I'm not sure if, I think they say it. Yeah. And Rachel is depressed and lonely in New York. Her roommate is always busy with like different guys.
Yeah, that silhouette was confusing. Like she like looks over and she's like horrified, and I'm like, I think I see a body on top of another body. I can't quite tell.
It's true.
And then I was like, is this how you do sex? I don't know.
To be fair, they never specified if it was guys.
True.
I
That's
think
true.
she's very open bisexual.
Right. So we don't know.
Glee's bisexual icon, Rachel's roommate.
Rachel's faceless and nameless roommate for this episode. So in that class though with Cassandra, she basically like targets Rachel because Rachel like gets like a face after she calls that girl Muffin Top, and so this kind of starts the teacher like bullying Rachel. So
Yeah, because Rachel falls and she's like, I don't need help getting up. And she's like, I'm not here to help you. I'm here to give you a big New York welcome. You suck. I'm like, I wish I could fire this character.
yeah,
The amount of gratification that would give me
yeah.
to just be not for the show to fire the character, for me to be on the show firing.
You walk
Cassandra
on
July.
as like a non-named character, like you're just like a fan, and you're like, no, stop, or fired.
Go home, Kate Hudson. How to lose a job in 10 days.
Maybe that's what oh my God, what if she's not Cassandra July? What if she's your character Andy from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and she's writing an article, How to Lose a Job as a dance teacher at a college in 10 days. Oh my God.
We cracked it.
That's it. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
But Rachel, she's kind of a mess.
Yeah. So
She's also the only one who doesn't wear black.
Oh yeah.
Anyone notice that?
Yeah, everyone else is wearing dark colors. Yeah.
It's so she stands out as our protagonist.
Yes.
You can pick her out of the scene.
I know. But still.
Maybe she should have read the memo. Read the room, Rachel.
So yeah, Rachel's depressed and lonely, and she hasn't heard from Finn. And so she started showering at 3 a.m. because she can't sleep anyway, and because people had opinions about her skin
It's a co-ed
routine.
bathroom.
Yeah,
A co-ed community bathroom.
I have a lot of questions. Maybe it's just because New York does things differently. But yeah, I don't think even my school was relatively like, well, no, because we didn't have community bathrooms. We all had private bathrooms. So I was lucky. But I don't think like other colleges had co-ed bathrooms like that. Because like I would think like you would have, I don't know, like a boys co-ed or boys public bathroom, girls community bathroom, right? I think.
Yeah,
That's
I
how
mean,
my
unless
college
you're on
was,
co-ed
yeah.
floors.
But even then, like, wouldn't you probably split them up? I don't know.
Yeah.
I went to
there's-
school in New York. We had different bathrooms. Guys were in
Yeah.
one place, girls were in the other.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's pretty typical, is having gendered bathrooms.
Yeah, so I don't know if like Miata is just like really with it, or they're just like, okay, we need to get these two characters to meet like ASAP, and we need it to be sexy. There you go. Co-ed bathrooms. No one's gonna question it. Right?
I just want to say I had a community bathroom for a brief time in college. Horrifying. I remember walking in those stalls and being like, I've been going to the bathroom for 20 years, and I don't know what situation creates this.
What's the difference between a boys' bathroom and a girls' bathroom?
Probably not much, honestly. Girls are just as gross.
Yeah, but I want to say, like, if we see grossness, we tell someone about it and we're like, get rid of the grossness.
That's probably
Whereas the
true.
guy is just like, it's
I guess
there.
this is
Okay,
how we live.
I'm done. Yeah.
I guess I live in shit hell now.
So glad I avoided that. But
I had community bathrooms, and not gonna lie, I definitely took showers at odd hours because I hated having anyone else in there.
That
so 3 o'clock in the morning,
understand.
like I was there. I get it.
I get that. But her logic is because people made fun of her for her moisturizing routine.
Yes, that was very strange.
Which we know was intense from the Valentine's Day episode.
But couldn't she just do that in her room at like a mirror? Like, she doesn't have to be in the bathroom to do that, right?
Well, you need a sink so you can like wash off the stuff you put on your face.
Yeah.
I guess so. I guess if she's doing like the whole shebang. Anyway, but I was just like, so she doesn't sleep, so she's sleep deprived. She's gonna start hallucinating. I was like, she's gonna go insane.
Can't wait for next episode when that happens.
I have to say, like, even in like the first, few minutes, like, they really had me feeling bad for her, which hasn't happened in so long.
Yeah, in a couple seasons, really.
Yeah, since like season 1, episode 1.
Did anyone have this hard of a time at college? Like, I mean, going from rural Ohio to New York is that's a big jump.
Yeah.
That's true. And also, like, she's in a really cutthroat sort of professional program too. Mm-hmm. So like, I went to school for English. No one is competing for anything there. Yeah. So like, she's got a lot going on right now. And, like, she was supposed to go with Kurt and with Finn. Like, she was supposed to take her group with her, and she's completely alone.
Yeah. I had some teachers in college. Like, I had one teacher that said he hated the Irish and he hated Catholics.
Wow.
And he talked about how he dated a woman under a false name for years.
Wait, okay. This surprises me. Didn't you go to a Catholic college?
No, I went to a public school.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I went to a Catholic college. I'm getting my education and education mixed up.
You're like, did I go to public school? No, I went to a Catholic school.
Yeah, but I was like a junior by then.
And you were like, whatever, have your own opinion.
Yeah, and if it was up to him, I would have ended up a Republican. Because I like didn't get anything he was trying to teach me, and then I had another professor that like kind of made me a liberal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a good thing that you were like, hey, I like being Catholic. And you're like, I'm not going to understand anything you say.
Yeah, and then we had that guy reviewed my really good professor later, and I was like, I learned nothing from you, and you get to review the good professor.
Ugh.
But he was a man, so he had tenure.
Oh. Yeah, so basically that says they can say whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, no more college politics. That's another podcast.
Yeah.
Coming soon. No. Maybe, I don't know.
Please no.
Yeah. So Rachel's in the bathroom, and then this is our third eavesdropping on someone singing the shower sequence in Glee.
Holy shit, yeah.
Because Will eavesdropped on Finn eavesdropped on Sam.
Yep.
Rachel eavesdrops on Brody.
That's his name?
Yeah. Okay, no offense to any of the Brodies of the world, but like it has the word bro in it, and I can't. I'm sorry.
And so she's listening to him sing some song that I didn't recognize. Sister Christian or something.
Yes, I think so.
And he gets out of the shower naked, and she watches him, and he puts on the towel, and then he's like, oh, I shower at weird times too for my skin regime.
He like doesn't care. Like he steps out of the shower before he puts the towel on, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. He's like dicks out, kind of like walking out of the shower, and I had a jaw drop, but Rachel was just like, I was like, what? Why are you? And she was like staring straight at his face too, like his vocal area. And I was like, no, that I would have been like, wow, I would just been like, good job, God.
Yeah, if I was a hairless supermodel, maybe I wouldn't care.
Yeah, if I had
That's
abs
true.
like that, I'd let it swing, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, and it's like in a co-ed bathroom, like we learn that he's a junior, but I feel like in a co-ed bathroom, at a certain point, you probably just like don't fucking care. Also, boys, like locker rooms, like I think you guys are a lot more open often, and in girls, I don't think it's quite nearly as like we can just walk around naked kind of thing. I've never really experienced that, so maybe that's
No,
also
same. Although I've heard about this, but a lot of times with older women don't care.
Yeah, 'cause
Younger
they're like-
women are much more
God, I can't wait to be
Conservative?
65.
question mark.
I had a guy that I was working out with once when I was showered in the locker room, and he looked at me naked, and he walked away, and he never talked to me again.
Good story.
That's kind of brutal.
Yeah, and we were just like working
Like-
out, like there was no romantic anything.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
insane. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe you're like, probably not.
I don't know. I'm like, he was a weirdo.
Oh.
'Cause we were gonna
Well-
work out together, and he's like, "Well, what are we gonna do?" And like when I work out with someone, I kind of do whatever they want to do. Like it's different. It's more of a social thing. And I'm like, "Okay, I'm open to whatever." And he's like, "Okay." Then he just went off and did his own thing, and we worked out separately. And I'm like, "Then why did I make a plan to meet you at the gym?"
Yeah, that's strange.
Okay, we can still hear you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see you anymore
Alyssa's
Why?
doing something with the computer.
because I have
Oh.
to do something at work.
I thought something was going wrong.
No. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I'm
Gotta
working
do
today.
secret work stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're talking. He's like, "You're a freshman. I hear it's pretty brutal. But because of Cassandra July, I got my job in a Broadway show over the summer,
What show did he say he was in?
working.
Right.
And it lasted for 3 performances, and he was steel worker number 3.
Is that typical? like people with that much talent, like getting bit parts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's never really something that I've ever looked into.
Yeah. I think like it surprised me how really nice he was to her, but it didn't come off to me as like, oh, he's gonna screw her over. Like it felt really genuine. I don't know if you guys got that from him.
No, I don't trust him at all.
Oh.
I don't know. It's because of Finn.
Oh, I see. I forgot that Finn.
I forgot Finn existed.
He
Like-
walked out of that shower. I was like, Finn, who?
That's why I don't trust him. That's why.
That's valid.
Yeah.
I'm with Alyssa. That guy's up to something. I can smell it. I can smell it the minute he walked out of the shower. This
You
guy's
could
up
smell
to
his
something.
Axe body spray.
Yeah, I could smell that Axe body spray. I know he's up to something.
There's so many scenes where he just randomly shows up and does something to make Rachel feel good, and I'm just like, I don't trust it. I don't trust it.
I thought at first he was gonna be like a ghost or something. Like he was only
He's
when
hallucinating.
right. That's what I thought. Like there was something like, oh, she's hallucinating this well-cut ghost that's coming out of the shower, and then he would pop up, and there he is again. But then she was around other people, so but I thought I would have sworn it was a ghost at first.
But does anyone actually talk to him?
People react to him.
Whoopi
Do
Goldberg
they?
looks around and gives him
Yes.
the stink eye.
Oh, that's
Yep.
right.
Mhm.
Remember he
Whoopi Goldberg
stands
is
up and
Carmen
floods?
Thibodeau. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carmen Thibodeau.
So then he's like walking, he's like, "In case you're wondering, which you were, I'm straight."
I was oddly charmed by that. I'm oddly charmed by him, and I
Look at
don't know
him.
why.
She's foaming out at the mouth over this guy.
I don't know. There's just something about him. I was like, she needs this. Like, she needs someone who's just going to be nice to her.
Yeah. I liked Brody more than I thought I would because I knew he was a character that was coming and I knew he was named Brody. And I was kind of like,
You were prepared to hate him because of his name.
Yeah, but I was like, I guess he's fine.
Yeah.
I don't trust him. Not at all. He seems dangerous to me. Also, I don't trust anyone in New York.
I thought you were saying anyone at all. But that's pretty close. There's a lot of people in New York.
Yeah, anyone at all is probably a good... Yeah, let's just round up.
Yeah.
But
and then Rachel is lying to Kurt that she's like, I'm having a great time in New York. My dance teacher worships me. I love my roommate.
This is one of the other reasons why I don't trust him. It's because she trusts him.
yeah, she's got great judgment. Yeah,
She lies. Yeah, she lies to Kurt and then ends up spilling her guts to this random stranger. And I'm like, this is not a good combination.
yeah.
He's hired by Sunshine Corazon to get revenge for sending her to a crack house in season 2.
And he's going to send her to a worse and more dangerous crack house. Yeah, so one thing I noted about this scene, she's wearing a beret, she's wearing a black shirt, a skirt, whatever. You know, she's wearing a tiny purse walking through the city, and I'm like, what? You're not prepared. You don't have anything you need. And she's wearing non-walking in the city shoes. I was like, I'm confused.
Honestly, she looks way too put together for a college student.
Right?
Yeah.
I carried a backpack everywhere. Even if I was going out to dinner with you guys, I was like, I don't know, I might need my computer or my textbooks.
Yeah, she'd be just sitting in the park and be like, where are her textbooks?
Yep.
She also, later on, she walks into class with just a notebook. And I'm like, yes, I understand it's a vocal class, whatever. But you're going to have some sort of textbooks. No backpack. Don't you have multiple classes today? Hannah, this show has never been realistic. Okay, I'm done.
To be fair, art school is a little bit different. So I'm assuming performing school is also a little bit different. We didn't have textbooks in art school, but we did have a lot of shit to carry around because we had to carry around paints and pencils and canvases and all of that
portfolio
stuff.
Case.
Yeah. So maybe they really didn't have to have anything.
Crazy.
Yeah. So then she has her music class in the round room with Whoopi Goldberg as Carmen Thibodeau.
And Brody's there, which confused me. I was
like, isn't he a junior?
Yeah, they're both musical theater majors, right?
Yeah.
If he's a junior, he's behind on his curriculum if he's taking this low-level music or vocal course. Maybe that's another reason to not trust him. Okay, Brody is not...
He's suspicious.
I don't like him anymore. Yeah, he's sus.
What secrets is he hiding in that man cardigan? So then one student gets up and she starts singing Ave Maria.
Why did she pick Ave Maria? I'm assuming that Miata has other, you could just be a singer. So maybe she's going to be an opera singer and Ave Maria kind of works. But I was like, Ave Maria, what a weird choice.
It's a counter song.
Yeah.
It's in the public domain.
True.
And Glee was like, we've already paid a lot of money this episode. We're paying for a Billy Joel song.
That's true. That's true.
I was very surprised by how terrible she was because she was supposed to be the best of the best, and she was not even close.
I literally was like, this sounds horrible. And then Carmen Thibodeau stopped her and was like, you fucking suck. Get out of my classroom. Did she actually kick her out of the school? Does she have that power? Or did she?
I think she did.
Yeah, she was kicked out.
Yeah.
Because she was like, did she get cut? And Brody was like, it happens. And I was like, but did she get kicked out of the school, or is she just not allowed to take the class?
No, I think she got kicked out of the school because the freshman class is super small. Remember, I was reminded from this scene, like the freshman class for this college is like what, 12 people or something?
Mm-hmm, something like that.
Yeah.
She's like, I suggest you reapply in December.
Right.
Which is bananas to me how this girl got picked and Kurt didn't.
Yeah, that's why I was like, she's terrible. She shouldn't even be in this classroom. Like
if she needed that much vocal training over the summer and she's still not good, I don't know.
And then Rachel sings New York State of Mind by Billy Joel, popularized by Barbra Streisand. And another character also sings it, but we'll talk about that character later.
Yeah. It sounded really good. I was worried it was gonna get like too Gleeified, but it was fine.
Have any of you watched 30 Rock?
No.
Most of it. But
I feel like there's a scene where Jenna starts randomly singing this song, and I thought it was a weird song that 30 Rock made up because they make up a lot of songs on that show.
Really?
And so she starts singing it, and I'm like, I just can't take this seriously because all I can think of is Jenna Maroney just breaking out on like a yacht or something singing this song.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny.
I've never heard this song before.
What?
Really?
You never heard the Billy Joel song?
No.
I'm in the New York State of Mind. Come on, that's one of the
Welcome to the Odyssey.
Yeah, that's one of my
You're
favorites.
taking place with that Ave Maria chick.
Oh, I go just to see Whoopi. That was great. Yeah, but that you didn't like that, Hannah? That song, them singing that song, Hannah?
I did. It was okay. I love the
Oh, it
song
wasn't
in
okay.
general.
That was great. What are you talking about? With
I
her
don't
and the
know.
other one?
It was
Get out of here.
I actually have some thoughts about the other person's singing that I think.
Oh, I thought she was super. That other one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was super.
She was a super girl. She really
Yeah,
was.
she was super.
I will be right back.
I love that song when those two sang that part. How dare you?
So you don't think it was like a bastardization?
Well, of course it was, but at least it was a fun bastardization. There's only.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I won't listen to it again.
I don't care for your nonchalance about it. I thought it was really good.
Fine. I'm just gonna sit here and be nonchalant.
White Claw number 2. This time lemon.
Ooh, lemon's pretty good too.
I haven't tried the lemon yet.
So is this your first time in this second variety pack?
Yes. So far, I really like it. Like, it's perfect.
Honestly, it's better than the OG. It's better than the originals.
Yep.
Yeah. Lemon's nice and
I'm-
refreshing.
Hitting it hard in the middle of a work day.
Yeah, might as well. It's a Saturday. Also, White Claw is basically water, so you're fine.
I'm already feeling it. I think it's because I haven't had lunch yet.
Oh, yeah, that's how the White Claw gets you, is if you don't eat while you're doing it or like before.
It's only 1:00 here, guys.
That's true.
Shit. I'm spilling it everywhere.
You're a mess.
You're supposed to spill it into your mouth.
Show her, Hannah.
Anyway,
So then Brody stands up and claps for her, and Whoopi Goldberg as Carmen Thibodeau looks at him and it's just like gives him a glare, and then she's like, "Nice."
that was really weird. I was like, Brody. Okay, you know what? Now the more I think about Brody, I was like, okay, no, this is suspicious. Like, he was the only person who like stood up. Is it just because he knows her? And if so, that's really shady.
He's so kind. It makes me feel like he's up to something.
Damn it, those abs tricked me again.
He's like a con man or something. I swear to God.
Oh, what if he's not even a student? Ooh, what if this is going to be like a Shelby and Jesse situation where they're like in cahoots. What if he's in cahoots with Sandra later?
Oof.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me that they would redo a storyline like that because they're basically trying to redo all of the storylines.
Yeah.
Which is something I definitely can't wait to talk about.
Oh boy.
So then she's sitting out there looking at pictures of Finn, and Brody is like, "Oh, is that your boyfriend?" And he's like, "I had a girlfriend, and we lasted like 6 weeks." When I moved to Nevada."
Suspicious.
Yeah, he probably was like, did he say where he was from? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
No.
Huh, well, Rachel said she was from Ohio, but he didn't say where he was from. That's suspicious.
I personally don't care about where people are from. But when you're talking about your boyfriend, and this guy over here says he and his girlfriend didn't last 6 weeks, there's a correlation there that is questionable.
Yeah, he's like literally telling her like, good luck. Because also she says he's in the army, which I'm surprised he wasn't just like, oh yeah, that's definitely not going to work. If like whatever long distance thing he and his girl were doing, theirs is even more complicated. So yeah, he's, I mean, I don't know.
And he's like, "You need to take a picture and make new memories." So they take a picture.
He takes her phone and does it. It's weird.
The whole time
That
he
was
was
very
holding
strange.
her phone.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
The entire time he was
what if
holding
he
her
ran
phone.
away
I was
and
like, what is he
stole
going to
it?
do with it? Yeah.
That'd be a real New York experience.
Exactly. Even if like you know where to find him, Rachel, like he would still do it. He'd be like, I didn't take your phone. Because he would already have sold it. He would have already hawked it somewhere.
Yeah.
Where is this fantastical New York that she's in? Also, every time she's outside, it's like so bright and nice out, and like it looks so clean. And I'm like, no.
This is the same clean soundstage New York from the Newsies.
Yeah.
So then she's in dance class again, and Cassandra July is... All the Cassandra July scenes get mixed up. Okay, so Cassandra July is making a smoothie, and her TA comes in and is like, "I can't be your TA because I'm going to be on Wicked. I'm going to be a flying monkey." And she's like, "Oh, I'm so happy for you." And then she turns around and puts alcohol in her smoothie.
It was like surprisingly wholesome. Like, oh, maybe she's not such a bad person and we just need to get to know her. And then she puts vodka in her smoothie, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I felt that too, that like, oh, like she has her favorites, like you just really have to get on her good side kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then like they flip it and they're like, no, but actually she's super troubled by the fact that she's not famous kind of thing. Like she like they're clearly giving into that like she's super troubled, she hates her life kind of thing.
I did not understand the correlation between her student getting a part and her putting alcohol in her smoothie.
Well, because she feels like she's no longer young and successful.
I get it now,
yeah.
because at first I had no idea what that scene was about.
Yeah.
Then in the next scene where she like breaks out into dance, proving that she can still dance. I understood that it was like, oh, she was feeling old. But it didn't really hit for me the first time that I watched that scene.
It's a strange scene. Some would say pointless.
Well, Glee does so many weird things. I was like, what is happening? Is there a relationship between her and this random student? Everything's new. It was like, it just didn't, the correlation was just too.
Also, that kid, when he walked in, was terrified of her for sure. And she never looked at him until like, he was like, "I'm leaving." And then she like looked at him in the eye. I was like, this is weird. But Cullen, I have to say something that's probably going to disturb you, but these dance scenes reminded me so much of Smash. And then the smoothie thing made it even worse.
I was about to say Smash. This was the first season that came out after Smash.
Oh, wow.
And there's some more Smash correlation that I'm going to bring up later.
I'm excited.
Yeah. This is also the first season that came out after Pitch Perfect.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So Glee changed because I feel like Glee kind of changed the game when it came to musicals and mainstream in mainstream media. And then like the serpent eating its own tail, it's starting to copy the things that were copying Glee.
Oh, yeah. There was actually a show that I wanted to talk to you about. I meant to text you. It's like So You Think You Can Dance, but a fictional TV show. I keep seeing YouTube ads for it. I can't. The Leap? Something like that? I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll send it to you, but it looks like Smash, but just dancing. But and it's also kind of like a blend of that and like that Sing movie, that animated movie.
With the animals?
With the animals, because they do this like reality theater show, and that's it kind of feels like a blend of that because it's like normal people kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mixed in with people who are performers. It's very strange. And I agree. I think it is the serpent eating its own tail kind of thing.
Yeah. And so then, Cassandra, what does Rachel say to her that pisses her off now?
There's alcohol on your breath.
Yeah, because they're talking and she's like, oh, you're mad because I'm mean to you? And she's like, no, I just smelled alcohol on your breath. And the whole classroom is quiet.
She's Listerine.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think Listerine smells like that, but okay.
This entire scene just seems so unrealistic to me. Like, Rachel, who's being bullied by this teacher, is not ever gonna say that.
No. And also, like, she didn't say that at all. And so, like, Cassandra Desai is, like, projecting that previous scene onto this. And then it's so stupid because they clearly have walked in and this is the start of class. She does her dance number, which is confusing to me. I didn't like it. And then she's like, class dismissed. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, she's
like the Ricky Martin Spanish classes that we watched in the last season.
Yeah, that was last season. Yeah, feels like forever ago. Yeah, because she is like, I may not be a wide-eyed ingenue anymore, but I can still dance. And she dances to Americano by Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
It bad.
It's not good at all.
The singing's not great. The dancing is deplorable.
Fine.
I found it deplorable. It was just kind of...
It was boring.
It was.
Yeah, it was. That's why I was like, I am not... And I feel so bad saying this because you guys know how much I love Zach Woodley, choreographer of Glee and the Glee Project. Love him. He's my favorite Glee Project winner. But I just like... Yeah, it was so boring. I was like, I want to speed up through this, but I don't know when it's going to end.
We've seen Zach Woodley's work be better.
Yeah.
He had an off day.
But also, like, Rachel is, like, just this close to basically being, like, at the end, like, I didn't make that assumption. What's happening? And she's that close to saying it.
Because she's, like, dancing at Rachel. Like...
Like, it's the weirdest bullying I've ever seen.
And she's like, you're not only on my list, Schwimmer, you are my list.
It was, yeah, I don't understand this character.
That's a threat to a student. So, like, she's very troubled. I think she needs to just leave teaching and go to a therapist.
Yes.
P, what did you think of the dancing?
Well, I was distracted by what Kate Hudson was wearing, so I really didn't hear anything that was going on the whole time, to be quite frank with you. But yeah,
ringing in your ears.
Yeah, it was not my favorite dance number. It wasn't my favorite song choice, and I couldn't tell what song it was because I think it was two songs, wasn't it? It was two
Was
songs.
it a
So
mashup?
that's, I don't
I don't think
Yeah, it was-
so.
know. Because
I'm
I
almost
also
positive
don't
it was
like
two
that Lady
songs.
Gaga song too.
I've never heard that song before either. There was a lot in this episode that I hadn't heard.
I've only heard it
before.
like twice, and I skip it every time I hear it. I'm like, it might be
If you
a
put the
mashup.
mute on, it was great. If you put the song, it was not my favorite. I'm almost
Yeah.
positive it was two songs.
The fact that they
But-
covered this Lady Gaga deep cut and
Yeah, it is a deep cut.
we're gonna get to what I think is Glee's greatest injustice later.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't wait. I love all these hot takes.
Yeah. So that basically sums up Rachel as she's
Almost.
dancing with.
Yeah.
There's another dance class, and she's like, "I just want to let you know that I'm going to work really hard and prove to you that I can do this." And she's like, "Oh, you've got some fire in you. I like that in my students."
Yeah. And then, like, the last thing that'll kind of be a cliffhanger for another storyline is Rachel finally, like, breaks down in the middle of what I'm assuming is Central Park. And she's, like, calling Kurt. She's like, everything sucks. And, yeah, and Kurt's like, well, here's what we can do about it. Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about Kurt.
Oh, Kurt. He reminds me of a lot of people that while I was in high school were a few years ahead of me and had graduated, supposedly should have moved on, and yet I saw them every couple weeks, every couple months, just hanging out with my teachers. So
Yep.
having a hard time.
Yeah. He's back to see Sue's baby, Robin.
Yes.
Oh my
That-
goodness.
Was also a very pointless scene. I think it was just to be like, yep, Sue actually had her baby.
Yep.
That was it. We're
The
like,
baby
okay.
was super cute.
Also,
It
why
was
is
a
it school?
super cute baby.
Why is it at the school?
I don't know. And also the fact that like she's using her cheerleaders as babysitters is questionable.
I'm convinced that this isn't even a student. I think she's a robot that Sue created to look like a student to like take care of her baby and then be her like maniacal minion in the school. to the
Okay,
student.
that's definitely going in the Gleeboot.
A robot student? Yes.
Because the way she walks in, she like looks at the baby, like she looks like she's like she's an AI.
Processing baby human.
Yes, I was like, what's happening? Like, I know you're a character, I recognize you, but I was like, are you actually a robot? It was very disturbing at first.
So we meet Kitty, a
Ugh.
character that I regret to inform you will be around for a long time.
Wait,
Yes.
the robot we're talking about is Kitty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, she's a robot
Okay.
Cheerio, a Cheerio robot.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Sue compares her to Quinn, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of comparisons in this, and I think this is what the first one probably, or one of the first ones. What did she say? The young Quinn Fabray, except she's not pregnant, she's not depressed, and something else.
And not in and out of a wheelchair.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Which I was like, okay, I guess that's a summary of Quinn's life.
except boring.
Yeah.
She does not even hold a candle to Diana Agron.
Or
No.
to Quinn. Like, Quinn had so much to her the first time you saw her. Like, the first scene we had with her. First scenes, I should say. Like,
She's
I thought
literally
this
just
girl
a
was
blonde
robot.
cheerleader.
Like, I literally, like, it's almost as if, like, when you're playing, like, a Sims game and you can, like, drag your sim and they're just, like, that's what Ryan Murphy, he just took one, copied it, swapped it back in. It's like,
Copy paste. Copy paste.
Yeah. So then she's like, Kurt, because Kitty says something like, I thought gays were all supposed to be successful overachievers. What are you doing back here, Kurt?
He was about to say, I am a successful overachiever. But then he got cut off.
And Sue is like, it used to be only straight ex-football stars that lurked around their old high schools. But now even gay ex-show choir champions can lurk around their high school. You're truly a trailblazer, Porcelain.
I just don't know how I feel about their relationship. Like the way she talks to him, but also like she's never gonna mean him harm. So I don't know. I'm still conflicted, but yeah, Sue has a baby.
Yeah. And so Kurt is around throughout the episode, like arranging sheet music and excited about auditions. He works at the Lima Bean and he's all excited about auditions. And Brittany's talking about how hard it is to scissor a webcam.
Yeah, at the Lima Bean, oh my God, I paused after I heard this line. Because Blaine was like, oh, how's Santana? And she's like, she's good. She's busy with cheerleading practice. Okay, so let's talk. T, you're going to be really confused by this.
I'm going to pay really close attention.
Okay, Santana, our character, because I was assigned Santana.
Okay.
So we're the same. Her mother gave her money that supposedly was saved up for her to go to college, said, here, take it. You want to go to New York and become a star, do that. That's the last time we saw Santana. Now we're hearing from Brittany that she went to college. She went for cheerleading.
She had a full ride cheerleading scholarship to University of Louisville.
Yeah.
And so clearly she went, but we were under the assumption, right, that like she was going
to turn it down and do her own thing.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I was like, what? And then, so there was all of that information, and then she started saying, yeah, it's really hard to make out. It's like impossible to scissor with a webcam. And then I paused it. I was like, I have to think about the first part, and then the second part, just be like, oh my God. That was a lot of information in like 3 lines. Brittany,
yeah.
she still delivers lines, so just
yes.
three whole seasons and another episode here of just perfectly delivered lines.
Yeah. Though Santana's choice will lead to a great musical number later. So I'm excited about that.
I thought this was new for you.
I've seen clips.
He doesn't know a lot of the plot. I know some of the plot. But yeah, so that was confusing, but also hilarious. But then Kurt is getting bullied by Kitty.
She's like, my iced latte is too cold. She's like, it's an iced latte. She's like, it's an iced latte. That's too cold.
I would have kicked her out. Kurt has no idea how to deal with customer service.
Yeah. I that's why I'm confused, like how he got that job. I don't know.
Because he literally sits down at the table with Blaine and Brittany, and I'm like, you're working.
Yeah. Like you would be fired.
Yeah. My friends used to come visit me while I worked at Subway, and I hated them for doing that.
Yeah, because you're like, so like when I worked in admissions at undergrad, like even like if I was giving a tour and someone saw me, some people knew like I could wave at them. I had someone once come up to me and try to like have a conversation with me. I'm like, I'm doing a tour right now. Like, yes. I gotta go. Yeah. I got the rest of this school to show people.
Yes. Do not go visit your friends at work.
If you do, be professional, nonchalant. Just be like, hey, these are the services or goods that I need from you.
Yep.
Make small talk. Just be like a regular customer or whatever.
Yep.
Because their livelihood probably does or could depend on it.
Yeah.
Kurt's not doing very good at customer service.
Kurt lives with his dad, so like if he lost a job, like he'd be fine.
That's true. Although we're gonna go into his exceptionally dive off the deep end, later in the episode.
Yeah.
So Blaine is talking to Kurt, and Blaine is a good boyfriend and says, Kurt, You can't keep coming around here.
Well, because also like during the Lima Bean, he's like, "Are you guys so excited for auditions?" And then he's like, "Wait, is that weird for me to be so excited?" And they're like, "Yeah, a little bit."
Is it sad for me to be excited?
Yeah.
And Blaine is like, no, and Brittany's like, yes.
Brittany's a good friend. Yeah, and then like they're out in the courtyard of the school, which in Ohio again probably exists nowhere in Ohio.
No, there are no courtyards.
But I don't know why he would let Kurt get to that point, like to be in the courtyard. Like Kurt should be like going into the school, and Blaine's like, nope, stop right there. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, he's like literally having lunch at his high school.
Yeah.
Which he graduated from.
I wonder if he could still like buy a lunch there.
See, I
Like
was
the lunch
confused
lady.
what the hell was going on because I didn't realize he had graduated from anything. I thought he was just a student who was just sort of sometimes there, and now he's moving to New York. So I had no idea what the hell was going on with that one.
Yeah.
This is the confusion that happens for every single person who goes back to their high school after they've graduated.
Yeah. It's just like, and then I also realized that like the reason they did it here is because this is where Blaine does his big numbers. This is where he thrives and shines in natural sunlight.
So he's like, you need to go to New York. You know, you don't need NIADA. You can, work on being a star. And he sings Imagine Dragons.
That's
It's time.
Yeah.
And Pitch Perfect homage. All the cheerleaders have cups.
Oh, the cup thing.
So I was like, I know that from somewhere, but I couldn't remember. Yeah, Pitch Perfect. So which came first, the chicken or the egg?
This came after Pitch Perfect, I'm pretty sure.
So they did that in reference to Pitch Perfect? Well,
Yeah.
that was like a big thing that you did.
I remember people doing that in high school. I remember that happening. I remember doing that.
I think my favorite thing that ever came out of that, and still to this day, if I ever watch the Vine compilation of it, I will probably pee myself laughing. Is the guy who he hears the Pitch Perfect song
and he has to
do the cup thing. No matter the situation, he had to do it with a bowl of cereal. He had to do it in the car with like a Coke. He had to do it with like a pitcher of water. He would just be like, and then he would have to do the cup thing. That's my favorite. Like that's the best thing that ever came out of that. Yeah.
So yeah, Blaine starts singing. He does double Dutch singing. And shout out to the Glee project.
I was like, how dare they be like, well, if Darren Criss can do it, and like rub it in those children's faces. They were so young. Okay, so to a little context, there was this horrible obstacle course thing that they had to do in the Glee project.
Now, what's the Glee project?
It's a reality show to get on Glee.
It doesn't exist anymore, and it stopped existing after 2 seasons. Thank God.
Okay.
But in this obstacle course, there was also a music video. Some of the people had to do double Dutch, which is the double rope jumping rope, and
sing at the same time, or
lip sync, and they just struggled through it. And they did, I don't know, like 80 takes or something to get it right. And then
they didn't have any cuts either. Like there were no cuts.
It was a continuous shot. But how dare they put it in the first episode of the 4th season after the Glee Project 2 aired? Probably just a couple months before that stuff aired, right?
Yeah.
I want to know how many takes Darren Criss had to do.
Yeah. I need
That's
answers.
what I want to know.
Because you know what? I still stand by it. That's not easy for anyone.
Darren Criss made it look easy.
Yes.
Well, yeah, in that take.
Yeah.
He probably got to practice a lot doing double Dutch in general and then doing double Dutch in like lip singing. Anyway,
Plus he had cuts.
I thought it was fucking rude.
I felt like our 2-time podcast guest, Victoria, because I felt like I had a crush on Blaine while he was singing this song. I thought it was very dreamy. Yeah. I liked this number. And
It was
then
a throwback for me. I definitely felt like I was back in the 2010s.
Yes, for sure.
And then Kurt decides to go to New York. He sells his car, and so he can afford 2 weeks in a motel.
This is insane.
And you know
Well, it's
what?
not that crazy.
It's a little crazy. You have 2 weeks to find a place to live
In New York City.
without a job.
That's literally what I did in LA.
No, you did not. You came out here and you had an internship, and then.
But then when I came back in January and you were staying with Brittany and I was couch surfing,
Yes.
I had no job or place to live.
But you had a car, which
had
you
a
need in
car.
LA.
Yeah. But you don't need one in New York.
I think the difference is the age and experience. Because I was like, why would his dad push him to do this? Like, he encouraged him. I was just like, I don't know why he would facilitate that, because it just seems so unpragmatic. Like, and also Kurt makes a good point in the car when they're literally outside the airport.
Yeah.
Which you can't do. You can't just sit there and chat. People are going to honk at you and get really mad at you no matter what airport you're at. So like, and he's like, but basically I'm going to go to New York, get the same kind of job, paying me the same amount and paying 20 times more in rent and everything else. And I'm like, great point. Go turn around and go back home. Like, beg for your job back at the Lima Bean. Like,
No, he needs to follow his dream.
no.
Cullen, you sweet little.
I'm nervous for him. It made me so nervous, even though I knew exactly how it was gonna. And I'm assuming next week we're gonna see, what his living arrangement becomes, and I think I'm gonna be even more furious.
Are we talking about this in such pragmatic terms because we're old?
Yes.
Maybe.
Because the people watching this are supposed to be high
Am I that old
schoolers.
that I'm like, I'm too old to follow my dreams? Wow, that's sad.
You're not too old to follow your dreams, Hannah.
Nobody is too old to follow their dreams, but you know what you can be too old for?
Moving to New York City
Without any money.
maybe $4,000.
Yeah. You can be too old for that.
I don't know. You can make it work.
Maybe old isn't the right word. Maybe just tired.
Yeah.
Tired of the stress.
Too tired.
Like,
Too much stress. Yeah.
It's like Danny Glover being like, I'm too old for this shit. It's a reference to an old movie. Literally none of the listeners are going to understand it. So I really landed that one.
It was a great reference though, Hannah.
Thank you, T. Fellow old person.
So that I thought this scene was really sweet with him and his dad, and he's like, there's gonna be people like you in New York, people who aren't afraid to be different. And then I kept thinking about how someone recently referred to me as being too Michigan. And I was just like, are people in New York that much better?
And then Bert is such a great dad. And Kurt also tells him, you're the greatest dad ever. And I'm surprised Bert wasn't like, I know. I've met the other parents and adults in this town.
But he's like, he says it on the mug you got me for Father's Day. I thought that was really cute.
It's such a great, line.
When is Father's Day?
In like 3 weeks.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's the second Sunday in June, right?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
It's usually the second Sunday in June, I think, because Mother's Day is the second Sunday in May.
It is the third Sunday in June.
Oh.
Interesting.
It's on June 20th, so not 3 weeks.
Okay.
5 weeks.
I still have to get my father a Father's Day gift.
Target has a lot of cool mugs that say like fun dad phrases on them. They're actually, they look really nice.
World's greatest dad.
No, they're like a little more clever than that. They're like, so one of them says plant dad. And I was like, oh, that would be kind of fun to like get like your partner if you don't have children, you just have like plants or like dogs or something. Get them like a dog dad or plant dad one. But mugs are kind of, meh. I don't know. Anyway.
So yeah, and so he's
Bert
leaving.
cries.
Bert's like, you can always come back, but as he's leaving, he's like, but you won't. That was touching.
Yeah, because he's like, I did appreciate that, like, he's doing this because he knows, like, his son will make it work and can do it. And I'm like, you know what? I appreciate that he believes so much in Kurt and trusts him.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, Kurt, I don't see him as being, like, irresponsible. He's probably one of the more responsible kids, former Glee kid.
Yeah.
Because now that's how we have to call them, as a former Glee kid.
Yeah, I feel like, he just needed the push out of the nest,
Yep.
Like, once he learns to fly, it's not like he's going to come back to the nest, but he does need to learn how to fly, and you're not going to figure that out unless you are pushed. So
Unless you're pushed out of the tree.
Yep.
Your mama bird.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I mentioned the B word in front of T.
You're frightening me with all these bird references. All right,
Oh
Hannah?
my God. Okay, so this is totally unrelated, but I just got back from the zoo, and there's an area in the zoo where they have the macaws fly over like a couple times.
Oh my God. Were they out of cages?
Yeah, it's so much fun because you're just standing there and they'll have them go around in the circle and like they fly like this close to your head. It's awesome.
That's fun. Those I would never do that. I would never. The little ones freak me out. Big macaw.
I know.
Why would you do that?
But anyway, so Kurt presumably gets on the plane.
Yeah, and then Rachel is on the phone, like telling Kurt everything's horrible and I'm so alone. And then she turns to see Kurt's like, maybe you need to move out and get a new roommate. And Rachel's like, yeah. And he's like, turn around, because he knew exactly where she was.
Yeah,
That girl needs to turn off Find My iPhone. Because people are gonna stalk her.
Maybe she's on Snapchat and like the Find My Friends map.
And it shows her like off in the middle of like whatever ocean is. What?
Maybe she said,
Manhattan
maybe like she
Bay?
talks to him.
I don't know. What's the water that's over there, T?
The Hudson River.
The Hudson River.
Or the East River. Excuse me.
River. Maybe she just says, like, yeah, every Thursday I go to the Hudson River, and
Well, no, she was by fountain, wasn't she? At a fountain.
Yeah.
She was at a fountain.
She's at a
You would
fountain
never
with
just
no
randomly-
Specifically
textbooks.
fountain.
Yeah, you would
I
never
go to
just
the
randomly.
specific fountain every Thursday.
Yeah, but if you're going to just like a river, like you're dumping bodies. Like
That doesn't happen anymore, Hannah. They stopped.
That's
that.
what you think, T.
right.
Oh, I know.
And so she turns around, she sees Kurt, and they're reunited, and I thought it was very cute.
It was cute.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kurt and Rachel, Kachel,
I know. I'm sorry.
Kachel is back.
Kachel? Is that what we were calling them? Did we
It's
ever
either
get
Kachel or Vert.
Word? I hate both of them, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't hate the characters. I hate both of the name choices. Yeah, can't wait to see the Vert adventure.
In New York. Can't wait to meet what colorful characters they're gonna stumble across.
There's one I'm thinking of, and I cannot wait for that episode.
So let's go back to Lima, Ohio.
Back where it all started, where the show should have remained.
Should it have? Because what I'm seeing there is pretty dire.
That's true.
The Glee Club is back. There's a fly above her. Oh, you got it. Squeeze.
Sorry, guys.
I hope this is left in the podcast. It's great.
So there's the Glee Club is popular now. Jacob Ben Israel, who looks 45 years old.
Who is 45 years old?
Oh my God. Literally, like, why does he look so much older? Is it because his hair is short and now we can see his receding hairline?
Maybe. Oh God, speaking of short hair. Oh no. Yeah.
T's hair is non-existent?
No, his hair was always,
You know
he always
that.
shaved it close.
Yeah, I know, but the listeners don't. They don't get a
That's
visual.
true. T
No, they
shaved-
don't know.
It's
They don't know
bald.
what he
Nothing.
looks like.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But so mine was in reference to Mr. Shu getting a haircut, and he looks worse. Don't like the short hair on Matthew Morrison.
I didn't notice. I really was preoccupied with Big Jen
I
Israel.
paused because I was like, I have to take a break from this right this second. And that's like 3 minutes into the episode. But yeah, so the Glee kids are popular.
You're already
God.
sitting with cheerleaders.
But Jacob Ben Israel is doing his thing where he's like running around, like doing his like kind of TMZ like show. And he's like, he first goes up to Artie and he's like, we've heard that you've been sitting with cheerleaders. And Artie's response is, well, I'm often seen sitting. And I'm like, this is I'm Still Standing all over again.
And then he starts singing I'm Still Standing again.
Yeah. So, and then he talks to Tina.
Who broke up with Mike Chang.
Why?
I'm a diva.
First of all, yeah. How did Tina become like my favorite character into suddenly being a terrible, terrible person? Like not like throwing a banana at her question mark assistant
She has a freshman assistant.
because it's not organic.
I would have
What?
loved a freshman assistant as a senior. That would have been great. I would have loved to have someone help me carry my books to classes.
Oh my goodness. Maybe I'm just like too wholesome of a person, but I feel like I would have responsibility for a freshman assistant, and I did not want that at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like taking care of a puppy.
Yeah, exactly. So let me just not take care of the puppy, and then I won't be blamed for killing it.
Oh, dark. That's dark.
For accidentally letting it starve. But like, yeah. And he said, you got a tattoo of Mike Chang on your hip. Mike, what is it?
Mike Chang forever.
Mike Chang forever.
Right. And then she got it changed to Make Change Forever.
This change is good.
And I was like, she maybe just turned 18 and she already has a tattoo of her boyfriend. And I'm just like,
Not a good look. But also, did anyone else think that Make Change Forever? Like, I'm just like
that sounds
like
exhausting.
making change in a grocery store. Like, this is where my brain went. I was like, make change. And I was like,
I haven't touched physical money in so many years. I was like, what? I was like, oh, got it.
make change forever. Okay, Tina. I guess you're gonna be.
So she's gonna go up to cashiers every single day.
Yeah.
Like, you have change for this,
Yeah, Tina's become a diva. And that's why I was saying that we had to cherish Tina. I feel like at one point last season, I said we had to cherish Tina the way she was because I know she's going in a bad direction.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope this is the end of it, but I don't know.
So the Glee Club has all kind of become jerks. Sam's super popular. Though I do love, they're like, do Taylor Lautner again. He's like, Bella, I love you, and I'm a werewolf.
Oh, so good. Oh my god. Yeah, no, like he's popular, but like he's just kind of like surrounded by girls who are like fawning over him. He doesn't seem to be being mean to anybody.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I didn't like it though. It's not
It's
my
weird.
Sam.
And then
Not my Sam.
Is Jacob and Israel the one who introduces the idea of like the new Rachel?
Yeah, who's going to be the new Rachel? And then Tina, Brittany, and Blaine are all like, I am.
All at the same time. Doesn't Archie say it too?
Artie?
Artie?
AJ Appa comes
How
in.
long have I been watching this show?
I don't think so, right? Maybe?
I thought he was in that scene.
He was in it, but I don't think he said it.
Okay.
Yeah, because he becomes the judge.
Well, that's why I was confused, because I was like, I thought he said it, but then he doesn't even participate.
Yeah, so there's that. So we talked a little bit about, the new Rachel, obviously, like, who's going to replace her. And then didn't we talk about, Kitty being the new Quinn? So, like, there's already this really heavy trend of just, like, the show is quite literally being like, we're going to be replacing the characters that you know and love, but we're still going to keep them in this new form. And I'm like, you can't
bad idea.
It's kind of bad that, like, we're only one episode in and we're like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
We see the end.
Yeah. And then, so everyone wants to audition for Glee Club. It's super popular, but Wade Adams transferred from Carmel High, and he's now in the Glee Club as Unique. And they're not very excited, and Will's like, come on, where's the love? And they're like, this just means more competition to find out who's the new Rachel.
And he says the most deplorable thing, one of the most deplorable things he's ever said. He said, we don't win with stars. And I was like, Shu, have you forgotten just how many times you have placed Finn and Rachel in a star position to win? Fuck you. So yeah, he's a liar. He's a hypocrite.
Well, at one point, Kurt says, there's another fly, God damn it!
They're all over the place. I don't know where they're coming from. They're like the little gnats.
Oh, I hate those things. I think it's just a season for them. Summer's coming up.
But Kurt says to Blaine, he's like, you shouldn't care about solos so much. Even when Rachel was at her most demanding, she always made sure everyone felt included. And I was like, whoa, what a lie.
That's such a lie. That's
old-faced liar.
Yeah. All of this is a lie. I don't know. I just think that this new like Glee Club popularity is really interesting because it ends kind of by the end of the episode, and it's kind of just like feels pointless that it even happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was already starting to feel that
agree.
before we had the rest of the story. I was like, you guys being popular, like, why we're never, like, as an audience, we're never going to care that you're popular.
And then, what else? So they're sitting. Okay, so Wade comes in, and then when Will says there's not going to be any talk of new Rachel, they're like, we're going to have to do this ourselves, Thunderdome style, in the auditorium at 3. Artie's the judge.
And whatever. This is just so weird.
It makes no sense.
I agree, because you know what? Thunderdome style means meeting in a fucking parking garage at like 2 a.m. according to the Michael Jackson episode.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in the auditorium.
So they get together. So Tina, Brittany, Wade Unique and Blaine get together in the auditorium, and they're like, we're going to sing what Rachel would sing, the song of the summer, Call Me Maybe.
Okay, I don't think Rachel would ever sing that. I really don't.
Yeah, and then she can't pretend to cry while she's singing it.
Exactly. She can't squint sing. She's not going to sing it.
And Katina points out that Rachel said that she would be the new Rachel, which she did in the props episode.
Yeah. Like, I remember her being like, you can be a star when, I graduate. You're going to be next. So Tina should
never make promises that you can't keep, people.
Yeah. You're just full of so much wisdom today, Alyssa.
I mean, just in general, don't make promises because you never know what's going to happen. You never know.
That's true.
Alyssa at her wedding. I may be.
That's amazing.
So they sing Call Me Maybe, and I'm going to point out Glee's greatest injustice.
Against Carly Rae Jepsen?
Oh my gosh.
Alyssa's entire family is calling her.
Are you supposed to be talking to them again?
What?
Because I edited the Glee Project episode, and your mom called you like in the middle of the episode, and then texted Cullen, and I was editing all of that out. Is that what's happening?
No, I don't know what's happening. My brother called me. My dad called me. Now my mom's gonna probably call me. We'll just see. Well,
Okay.
I'm just not gonna turn my ringer off. So
We'll get
I feel like if your mom calls you, you should probably pick up and be like, "Is everything okay? Cool. Okay, bye. I gotta go."
yes.
So we get this deep cut Lady Gaga song that nobody likes. Yet the only song that they cover by gay icon and my favorite artist, Carly Rae Jepsen, is Call Me Maybe.
In the whole series.
Yeah.
Seriously?
No Run Away With Me.
That's crazy.
Ow.
So this is it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Ryan Murphy is not gay as far as I'm concerned. I don't care how many men he has sex with.
Wow, season 4, we are going off. Right? We have taken away a part of his identity today. No, like that is crazy because this is one of her more popular songs, but they do deep cuts by other people all the time.
We got the entire Teenage Dream album.
Yeah. That's really strange. And also they didn't do a very good job. I thought it was weird.
It was not good.
T, what did you think of this song?
Well, I love that song.
Yeah. Did you like the cover?
Hey, this is crazy. So here's my number. So call me maybe. That song used to all the time.
See, I did not say that you had to sing in your email, and you're just sharing your talents with us. I appreciate it.
I love to sing. You know that.
I do know that.
This is where they're all on the stage and they're competing. Am I remembering this correctly?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
That didn't make any sense to me. But I couldn't. But they're also singing and dancing, which doesn't. They just break out into song, so that doesn't happen all the time either in real life. But
I guess
do they
all
sing
the
and
time.
dance? Do they sing and dance in every show?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
musical.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I thought it was just the Rocky Horror episode.
But this
They
is
sing and dance.
but this kind of like Rocky Horror kind of makes sense. Well, parts of Rocky Horror make sense because they're actually doing it in the actual story. But
There's
Right,
they're
that
it's
makes
diegetic, yeah.
like the
Right,
blame
that one
number,
made sense. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know. It was very confusing.
It just wasn't a great performance. I didn't like it.
And
Maybe it was because they were trying to show the dissonance between everyone.
yes, that's a good point. It did. It felt very cacophonous.
Yeah, I think that was probably on purpose.
Yeah. Is that what it sounds like on the soundtrack, Colin? Have you listened to it?
No.
I mean, in that case, I would have just dialed it up just dial up the cacophony so it's in your face, so you know that this is not supposed to. It's not supposed to be this way.
Yeah, and then clean it up for the iTunes single. Perfect, done.
And just go over the top with it. That's this TV show is already over the top. Don't do anything subtly.
Glee is known for its subtlety. What are you talking about?
Oh my god.
What's crazy to me is that like there have been other times where they use like a sing off as as a part of the story, and it sounds great. Like you want to listen to it.
Take me or leave me. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. I like River Deep Mountain High. I would never listen to this cover of Carly Rae Jepsen.
No. But I mean, awful. if they took the idea of being popular and wanted to show that it was very, very out of tune with the entire idea of Glee, I suppose that would have made sense. But like I said, it's not over the top enough. There needs to be more substance with that idea, with that storyline, with everything that they're doing with the show, the visuals, the music, the writing, everything. It just everything needs to point in that direction, and they didn't get there.
I agree. Also, let's just quickly talk about how terrible Artie can be. He starts this whole shebang with being like, I agree to be a director because I love a chance to judge people. And I'm like, I fucking hate you.
Artie sucks.
He's also my Glee boyfriend, by the way. So, of course.
Toxic relationship.
Yeah. We're very off and on, mostly off.
mostly Hannah just being like, I hate you. I don't know why you're my Glee boyfriend. So then Artie decides that Blaine is the winner of being the new Rachel. After like he takes a while to deliberate and they're like, you've had enough time. Tina's assistant brings Artie like this like ice cream sundae.
Yeah.
It's a cupcake. Wasn't it a cupcake?
It was some dessert.
Listen, I did not know what it was.
It was chocolate.
Chocolate, there might have been sprinkles and whipped cream. I don't know. But like, yeah, I didn't notice that the assistant brought it. I thought actually the assistant was just the one-off thing, so I didn't notice that.
I thought it was Tina herself.
She gave it to Tina, and then Tina gave it to Artie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I must have missed that. But yeah, like I thought, like obviously she's like bribing him. She's like, but it's not a bribe. But like she takes it away after he says it's Blaine. But I also don't know why it was given to Blaine, because
there's no logical reason.
And am I correct in saying that, Brittany's fine, but she's not like the star, but she's probably doing it because she wants to be included, or she's having like a Britney Spears-esque, like, I'm amazing kind of moment. I was confused of like, why
I don't know, because she's a second year senior. I don't know.
Maybe,
she's technically a senior, so
I kind of wish they would have addressed that, actually, because I was confused. I was like, okay, so she's still in the Cheers, she's still in Glee Club. Is there a way for her to be like, this year I have a tutor, and she like there's like one little tiny instance of like showing like she's actually going to succeed this year. I wanted that.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Maybe we'll get it later.
Yeah, I don't know why it's given to Blaine, but it is. And
not that he doesn't deserve it, honestly.
Yeah, we love Blaine.
But there's no reason that we came to this conclusion.
I thought Unique was better.
Yeah.
So. But it would have been a little unfair to give it to Unique, who just joined the club. So, like, the fact of this being a competition in general is just stupid.
And throughout the episode, they keep telling Unique, like, don't wear makeup unless it's for performing.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't hear that.
That was like a major plot point.
They mentioned like two or three times.
I heard one line from someone that I don't remember saying, I thought you were only going to do makeup or dress up like during performances.
But
I don't even remember.
Happened, Well, did we skip over the auditions part?
Well,
We're not there yet.
we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because so they tell him to do that, and he goes to wash off the makeup.
Wow, I can't believe I just like completely blocked out this entire part of the episode.
And they did that also in the lunchroom, the first lunchroom scene.
Because they're like, it's like, you can't do that here. It's like intense.
Yeah, and so then he gets up, and then like the other thing happens. So like, yeah, like there was that moment, and then the moment in the classroom.
That's so weird. I remember him getting up from the lunch table, but not why he got up from the lunch table.
Yeah, it's really weird to me. I was like, out of all of the people who said that, I wouldn't have expected any of them to do that. It just doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know what's happening.
Not to mention, maybe I blocked it out because like I literally saw his makeup at the lunch table in that scene, and I was like, wow, it looks really good.
Yeah.
And then maybe I just blacked it out because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. His makeup looks great.
And then Kitty and two random jocks join them, and they're all like, they start making fun of the lunch lady because there's a new lunch lady. And she's a larger woman.
Yeah.
And so they're making fat jokes. And before this, Marley, the Karen Cartwright of Glee, because they watched Smash and were like, we need a wide-eyed Catherine McPhee type.
Oh my God, you're so right. Holy shit. Except she wears more hats.
She wears more hats.
And the hats I'm not a fan of. But you know what? Should we talk about who Marley is?
She's Supergirl herself, Melissa Benoist.
Oh my goodness. She looks like such a baby too. Like, she looks so different now.
Yeah.
I was looking at her, I was like, I could barely recognize her. I was like, she's so baby-faced.
I gotta be honest, guys. I knew her from somewhere, but I didn't realize she was from Supergirl until Cullen said it.
Mm-hmm. I know, that's cool.
Also, I keep forgetting her name is Marley, and in my head, I keep calling her Melody.
Interesting. I thought her name was Riley. And every time I heard Marley, I was, oh, okay, it's Marley. And I would hear like, oh my God, it's Riley.
Yeah. And so she overhears them. Well, because they're like, right, Artie, when they start making fun of the lunch lady. And then he makes a fat joke and we fade over to Marley.
Did it make any sense to any of you? Because when he told the joke, I was like, wait, that's not even a joke.
I don't even want to talk about it.
He said something like, when she lays around, she really lays around.
Yeah, when she lays
around the house, she really lays around the house or sits around the house.
Yeah, when she sits around the house, she really sits around the house. And I was like, what the fuck does that even mean?
I'm assuming that like she would fit around the house is what. It doesn't, it's not very clever. It doesn't quite make sense. You do really have to think about it.
Another reason Artie sucks.
I'm guessing.
I don't know. It wasn't.
He's a misogynist. He's a shallow bully. And he's not even good at being a bully.
Yeah. Yeah. So Marley like looks over because before that she'd introduced herself to them as like, hey, I'm going to be auditioning.
And Tina's like, there's a lot of tough competition this year, so good luck.
Yeah, and she's really mean about it.
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck is this? But I also don't know why so Kitty, no other cheerleaders, and these two jocks just sit with them and like chat with them like. They don't have anything in common that we know of.
It makes no sense. It's also not actually addressed until the end of the episode. The reason is because they're national winners.
Champions,
national champions. But that isn't addressed until like one of the final scenes in the episode. So we're just kind of like, why is this happening? The entire time.
I mean, obviously like this happens like like the scene we're first talking about, it happens earlier in the episode, and like the writing is already falling apart for me. Like I cannot understand what's going on, and I have watched this show for 3 seasons. Like that's really bad.
Yeah.
Like I know what Glee normally does, and like I have no idea what's going on.
And this is all just very basic stuff. Okay, guys. This isn't something that we should have to be asking about.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we see that the lunch lady is Marley's mom, and that she sews labels, designer labels, into her clothes so people think they're nicer, and she drives farther away so no one knows that she's Marley's mom. She's like, at your last school, you had no friends. I want you to be popular.
This was interesting to me. I wasn't sure how to feel about this relationship.
I agree. Part of me feels icky. I mean, the whole thing kind of feels icky, but I feel really upset by the fact that like this mom is quite literally admitting to being the reason that her daughter just didn't have friends, and she's trying to distance herself from her daughter so that she can have somewhat of a better life. But it's just like, it's sacrificial in a way that like, I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me. It feels really like very problematic, but I can't put my finger on it.
Well, the idea here is like, I kind of understood what they were trying to go for, and I felt okay feelings towards Marley having a mom who works in the school as a lunch lady. Like I can see where that would be an interesting plot line to pursue. But the problem is that the emotional maturity between the two characters is flipped. Whereas you would want a mother who's strong and supports her child, who is in high school and who's having like identity issues. But Marley is actually the strong character, and her mother is the person who has the identity issues. It is very, very awkward.
Yeah.
Because Glee thinks being fat is a sin.
I just thought it was maybe me being a millennial and like, I'm offended by this, but I don't know why kind of thing. But yeah, there's something to the fact that like, she knows that she is incorrect, in quotes. And so she's going to hide herself so that her daughter, who quote unquote looks more correct, can have a good life. Like, I don't know why they're doing this, because I totally get though the sewing the labels on clothes. I understand that. Like I never really felt that way, that like I felt like I needed to have like designer clothes really. I think maybe a little bit, but my school wasn't really like that. But I could understand that, like that logic. But the fact that like her mom is overweight and people probably in that other school made fun of her and then maybe just didn't want to be friends with Marley, almost said Riley. There's just something there about the fact that Glee and this character are basically saying like, I should not be seen, and I should not be seen with you, my daughter, and being seen with you would be a sin, kind of like what you said. Like, it's self-sacrificial in a way that feels really... It feels very rude. Like,
I mean, remember Lauren Zizes was always eating, and and she
Yeah.
was like a fat character, and they called her like a great rhino or something. And then Quinn Fabray had the evil backstory where she was secretly fat, and that was like,
Yeah.
you're like fat all along. Like,
And yeah, like it's really derogatory. And I also think it's very problematic to have the mom just kind of like accept that this is how it is. And it's not like I think it would be different if Marley was like, hey, so we're gonna meet like 2 miles away, right? And you can take me home from there. But the mom is like, okay, this is the plan. I'm gonna separate myself from you. And like by the end of the story, like spoilers, like Marley doesn't want to do that.
And that's why I think like it's especially awkward, because the emotional maturity of the mother is significantly lower than Marley herself.
Yeah, because I mean, lots of kids will be like, tell their parents, be like, okay, I'm gonna walk, and then I'll meet you a couple blocks down. Like they don't.
Yeah.
know their parents
I
at
just
all.
didn't want anyone to know I had parents. I feel like that's how you are when you're a teenager. You're like, I just want to appear places. I don't want people to know that my parents dropped me off.
Yeah, there's like something about like you're embarrassed by your parents. You just want them to be, you know, a couple blocks up, and you'll walk to the car from there.
But if someone had called my mom fat, like Marley, I would be like, well,
I would not have
screw
joined
you.
that club.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Like, she hears that before she does the audition, and like, I don't understand.
Yeah. Like,
I would be like, oh, those people fucking suck.
Yeah.
I still haven't forgiven Oprah for saying you can't be fat and happy.
She said that?
Oprah
How
said
dare
that?
she?
I don't even remember.
She said that in a very formative episode of my life. I remember watching Oprah, and she had this guest saying, oh, I'm fat and happy, but deep down, you can't be fat and happy. And Oprah like repeated it like, yeah, you can't be fat and happy.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, well.
Someday, like Ellen is gonna come back, and I'm gonna be the one who started it all. Yeah. Yeah, but
Anyway.
like
Auditions, right?
auditions happen. We meet Jake. Our
Yeah, facepalm.
our second black male character to really be a character.
Yeah, 'cause
though
the
our
one-
first, because Matt just had spider eggs in his ears. So that's the most interesting thing that ever happened with him.
Yeah, exactly. Remember Matt, season 1?
Wasn't Matt white?
No, Matt was black.
Jesus.
Oh my god. Yeah, spider eggs, dude.
Wow.
We had to take away some of their POCs. They're like, we have too many. Let's give him spider eggs, and then not bring him back the next season.
My subconscious is racist.
So we meet Jake, a young black man with anger issues. Thanks, Glee.
Yeah, I didn't even really connect that, but yeah, I connected that because of who I knew he was. But yeah, no, quite literally, that's what they do for someone who like doesn't know what his connection is.
Yeah. So he sings the fray, "Don't Let Me Go," and Sugar is like, he's so hot.
No, she says he's so sexy. I was
Sexy.
like, he is a child. Even to you, he's like 15.
Yep.
They're all
She's a
teenagers,
senior,
though.
right?
But she would be like 17, 18. He
True.
would be 15. He is
Yeah.
a child. But also, as a child, okay, as like a teenager, I don't think when I was a teenager, I don't think I ever was like, oh yeah, this boy in my school is sexy. I would be like, he's so cute. Or he's so hot. But you wouldn't say sexy. As I don't know, I wouldn't. That just felt
wouldn't
very
have.
weird to me.
Because Sam says, no, he's not. And maybe that's why, because he's like, he's a child.
Yeah, they cut that part out.
But it's just supposed to, I think, set up a competition because Sam's now like the hot guy on campus and he doesn't want competition.
Honestly, I didn't like his performance. I thought it was too nasally.
He does kind of sound like Kermit the Frog.
I didn't think he sounded bad, but I also didn't think he was sexy. So
I also didn't either. I thought he looked like a TV teen. Question: What happened to because you know who's still there is Dreads, right?
Joe.
Joe.
Julia's
Where's Rory?
favorite character.
Mhm.
Where is Rory?
Maybe he actually got deported. You know how he said it was going to be a lie? It was like set up as a lie that he was going to get deported. Maybe they didn't want to bring him
Actually got
back.
deported?
And he actually got deported.
That's really crazy.
No
because
idea.
I don't think there was ever like a goodbye scene with him.
No.
Nope.
Huh. Anyway.
I honestly think Damien McGinty was like, I'd rather just be in Celtic Thunder. Glee is toxic.
Probably. You probably had one
I'm just gonna
conversation with
say
Liam.
that's how it went down.
Yeah, he was like, ooh. Yeah, so then Marley Will interrupts Jake and is like, that's enough, we have a lot of people to see. And Jake's like, okay. And then he turns around, he like kicks a music stand, and they're like,
He's like mad that he doesn't get to sing the entire song.
yeah. And Kurt is like, that is rude and unacceptable. And Will's like, I'll handle this.
Yeah, because Kurt, you don't fucking go to the school anymore.
Yeah. And he's like, hey man, do you want to put that music stand back? Showing that classic Will Schuester, great handling of conflict.
Yeah, I'm like a cool teacher.
And he's just like, no. And he walks away.
I hated it.
Yeah. But yes. And then there's also like random people who come in and do things that are not good.
Oh, and it's not funny, and it's
not funny. Like the girl who came in, she's like, and then she turns on dubstep and she just starts like dancing, and I was like, is this supposed to be funny? I'm not laughing.
I thought that was funny, but I also listen to dubstep whenever I need to focus on something, and that has been literally all week this week because I've been working overtime. So I was just like slap happy with the dubstep here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
We get Marley. She does a duet with Rachel singing New York State of Mind.
she sounds really good. Very different from Rachel in a good way. But it made me confused as to how, because clearly they're setting her up to be the new Rachel because of the interplay of actually Rachel singing that song and her doing Hard Edition at the same time.
Because Tina can't be the lead. She's Asian. We need a white girl.
Exactly. But also, like, I was like, she's good, but I'm like, Leah Michelle has something very, something that like really works for her. And I think Marley is really good, but I just don't know if she's like the same thing that they're looking for Rachel. I think Unique has a different version of that. I think Blaine would have a different version of that. I think Tina would also have a different version of that, but I don't know.
Oh, we did forget when Brittany says to Wade or Unique, oh, that's a nice haircut, Mercedes. I thought you graduated.
I missed that.
You missed that?
I don't know if that's what you meant when you texted me about Glee is way more racist now.
No, I missed that because I was probably freaking out in my head about the lunch scene later on about something Kitty said.
Oh, when Kitty's like, we can't have a popularity homecoming float with all white people, so I suggest you do it with all white chrysanthemums.
Yeah. She was like devastated that she can't have just white people. And I was like, Cullen, the racism went up to a 50.
Yeah, and so then the Glee Club, Marley is accepted into the Glee Club and they welcome her, and Sugar's like, oh, where'd you get that sweater? And she's like, J. Crew. And then Sugar makes like a face, like she knows it's fake.
And that doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere.
Well, it sort of goes somewhere, but we'll get there.
It does, but it doesn't. Like, because no one tries to out her about it. No one tries to out her at all.
Yeah.
So like, because what's happening here is she's kind of coming in as an imposter, kind of, because, you know, like she's lying about her mom or hiding her mom, and then she's lying about like her clothes. But like, no one's ever trying to out her. So it kind of is pointless as any sort of conflict. There's no conflict there. Right? You know that T, conflict? You remember that?
I remember the conflict. I remember the desires. I remember
protagonist.
all that stuff. Yeah, protagonist.
So then they're making fun of Marley's mom again, and Sugar is like, her boobs look like soup bags. And then Marley's like, you don't know her life. Like, how dare you say that? And Kitty's like, oh, do you? And Marley's like, yeah, she's my mom.
Well, in the first scene, doesn't Brittany say something that they take as if she's also bullying her? Like, she says, maybe she has a disease, or maybe she ate someone who had a disease, or something like that. Like,
yeah,
it's a very Brittany line that, like, we probably wouldn't think anything of as her being malicious, but they think of it as being malicious, and it was very strange.
Yeah. So then she storms off, and then later Sam comes up to her locker and is like, I just want to apologize on behalf of the Glee Club. Like, I understand, like, that label's sewn in. My mom used to do that to me all the time. Where is Sam living? He was living with Finn and Kurt.
That's true. Is he homeless again? Is he sewing his own labels on his clothes now?
Where is Sam living? We don't know.
Does he live in the school?
And then the whole club comes to apologize, and Unique is like, where else would they accept me for being fabulously myself? And I'm like, they have not accepted you for being yourself this whole episode.
Nope. And they barely did it, because I don't even know what the crux of that was, but basically Wade ends up just putting on all of the, like, becoming Unique. But also,
there's no scene of the Glee Club accepting him.
No. Also, am I right in hearing that Unique speaks about themselves in the third person often?
Yes.
My question is, or not my question, but my concern is that they're making this person into a caricature as opposed to an actual character by doing something like that. Even though it's too early, that's something I want to track, because I was kind of like, I could understand it as being, you know, a character thing that they do, but I'm also like, or is it the show kind of caricaturing someone who might be in a trans identity? I don't know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
I have no idea.
And then, so then Kitty, they're like, yeah, being popular got to our heads. We don't know what happened. And Brittany's like, I've always been popular, but sometimes I forget to wear underwear.
Which is a great line.
And then Kitty comes up and is like, that's good, because we extended our invitations because you're national champs. We could deal with Tarantula Head and Richie Poor. But that invitation did not extend to Precious based on the novel Barf by Sapphire, or Mike and Molly's daughter. And then they slushy them. They slushy Marley and Unique, and they're like, order has been restored, and we are back to the status quo.
Is that literally the last scene?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, I mean, that was the first scene that we figure out why they were all hanging out together.
And honestly, that didn't even, like, that part of us, like that being a reveal, didn't have to exist then. It could have been so simple as them at the first lunch being like, okay, let's talk about how great it was to be national champs. Go. Like,
yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah.
Like, that would have made way more sense. But Also, the thing that like the Glee Club people say is like, well, I guess you're in Glee Club now. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great, right?
They also don't have enough. They're supposed to have 12 people to compete.
Why did they only pick one person? And they only auditioned 5.
I know, they kept saying like, oh, there's going to be so much competition. There's so many people auditioning. And then they only showed like 5 people. And I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Even Pitch Perfect or High School Musical showed more in an audition montage than Glee did. And Glee makes more money. So, I don't know.
To be fair, they have less time.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
But I also was just like, okay, so we only know there was a lot of competition because Shu put the sign-up sheet up and people rushed to him. They showed us a few people and then we picked one person. You're telling me there's not like 5 relatively, they still have Sugar fucking Mata there and she can't sing. Who also, I don't think she has, self-diagnosed
Asperger's anymore.
Asperger's. Like, she's not.
That joke is gone.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this did not land.
Yeah. Let's keep track of how often Joe and Sugar are there because I have a feeling they're going to weave in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
I have a line that just says, I hate Marley's Newsies hat so much. I don't like it.
Then Will discovers that Jake is Jake Puckerman. He's Noah Puckerman's brother. And Jake is like, oh, my dad's like an NBA player. There could be 50 Puckermans running around. We're half brothers. He's like, oh, now that you know I'm brothers with your boy, you want me in your club? And he's like, no, I stopped your audition because I wanted you in my club. And then you showed attitude, but I know how much good Glee did for your brother. So I think it could do good for you if you lose that chip on your shoulder.
This is so condescending.
And then his reaction is just like, he's just being stupid. They're both so stupid.
He's like, I like this chip on my shoulder.
I'm like, bro, you don't even know what that means.
Can we also just like stop on the fact here that they thought that they wanted to write in Puckerman's brother, but realized that he had never mentioned having a brother. So
yeah.
Jake is like, oh, he doesn't know about me?
Yeah.
What?
It's very stupid and haphazard. And for some reason, I don't know why they thought that they would need another Puck character. Why would you need another person like that? Like,
why would you need them to be related? So, okay,
yeah,
so we're replacing a Puck character. Fine.
Are they saying that only the Puckermans, because of their dad, just like that, like emotional issues is somehow genetic? Like,
yeah, it's in their blood.
I read a fan fiction once where
I love when your story starts.
this was a few years ago, and Puck and his brother started to have sex, and I was like, "What am I reading?" And I shut my shut my laptop. It was like I need to like close out of the tab, so I need to open my laptop
Your browser
again.
history.
So you didn't check for the incest tag?
This was on fanfic.net, so I didn't have those tags like they do on Archive of Our Own.
They totally have the incest tag.
Maybe now.
Maybe now.
Back in
Maybe
the dark
that's
ages.
why.
I
Someone
reported
else
them.
found that same one. They're like, no, Puckerman incest, absolutely not.
Yeah, so then they sing Chasing Pavements, and it's good. I actually really like this cover.
I don't know if you notice, but they're doing something that I have complained about for 2 years now.
They're rehearsing.
They're rehearsing a number, and it works. It's story related because they're integrating Marley. Shu is actually guiding them. It looks like a rehearsal, and I was like, why don't you do this all the time? I was so impressed. I was like, all right, season 4, here we go, realism. And then I remembered the rest of the episode before it, and I was like, oh yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of the episode.
That's it.
I thought we weren't gonna have a lot to talk about because this episode was kind of boring, but as usual, Glee provides.
Yeah, we could, even if we don't find something to talk about the episode, we just talk amongst ourselves, and we do that a little bit. Yeah, it happened.
So,
Tina
time. We kind of forgot to count because this is our first episode back, and she had a lot of lines.
I did. I didn't even I tried, kind of, not really.
I'm gonna say 18.
I have in my notes 11 to 13.
The last thing I remember Cullen saying, the last number I remember him saying out loud was 11.
Okay.
I don't even have my own count. I just have Cullen's count that he said out loud.
Well, you know what? Just like Glee, we're nothing but consistent.
So now let's talk about our MVPs and LVPs.
Mm-hmm.
T, who is your least favorite character?
Well, I didn't care for that guy who shoved the music stand down, because I had to set up music stands when I was in elementary school, and I know how long that takes. So that bothered me when he did that. So I would say that guy. What was that guy's name?
Jake.
Jake. Yeah, I didn't care for his attitude in that. I get it. I get he had an attitude, but don't shove that down the music stands, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like when they're old, they're kind of like rusty and they're hard to move, and it's a nightmare. Yeah, I also picked Jake. I thought all around he was an asshole, and I don't like him already, and I don't know. I think oddly enough, there was something at least to like about Puck after a little while. So maybe they're gonna do something like that, but
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
As far as we know, he's not having sex with older married women.
And he hasn't raped anyone like Puck.
Yes, so two positives.
Yep.
The bar's pretty low in the Gleeverse.
The bar is. I was actually talking about that with someone today, about how low the bar is in general for a lot of people these days. It's well, he hasn't raped anybody, so the bar is all the way down here.
It is on the floor. It is a step.
It went down into the basement. We are subterranean.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Alyssa?
I'm gonna go with the teacher whose name I can't remember.
Cassandra July.
Cassandra what?
July.
What
a dumb name.
Yeah. Well, she needs to get her life together. She is a piece of work. I can't believe she's teaching students when she has so much problems with herself. I guess I don't know, is she supposed to be that much more terrible because she's a college professor or something? I didn't quite understand her dynamic, and is she only going to be this foil for Rachel, or are we going to learn more about her, or I don't know. I just didn't like the way she was set up. I don't know where she's going. Not a fan.
I'm going with Kitty. I already can't stand her, and I know she's just going to be around for a long time, and she only gets worse from the little I know.
And I think the offensive thing to say that she's the new Quinn is that that just kind of boils it down that Quinn was just a fucking asshole, but she wasn't.
Quinn was a little more complicated.
Yeah, she was way more complex. And the show was like boiling her down to the mean girl personality that they gave her.
Honestly, I felt like they literally just boiled her down to blonde cheerleader. 2 words.
That too.
Blonde cheerleader.
Yeah. Ugh, Kitty. I'm just so not looking
I don't
forward
like
to
her
more
name.
of Kitty.
It reminds me of the mom from that 70s show, who was a delightful character.
Yeah, so let's talk about our MVPs. T, who is your favorite character?
Well, in real life, I would be insanely attracted to Cassandra July. That's the kind of woman I go for. But in the show, I like that guy's dad.
Yeah.
What's that guy's dad?
Bert.
What's that kid's name?
Kurt.
Yeah, that
Bert's
guy.
dad, Bert.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what, this is because I not knowing anything, I thought, oh, is he like going to be like, oh, one of those, you know? But he was really nice and really supportive. And I thought, oh, that's a nice character. I like that guy.
Yeah.
When I was watching that scene, I was like, T's gonna like Bert.
Yeah, I like Bert. I like Bert a lot. So I can go with Bert for my MVP.
Anyone who doesn't like Bert, it has to be a terrible person because Bert is just so good. I was gonna say Rachel because like it was such a long time since I had last actually felt anything for her besides just like but I was kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna go with Marley because she stood up to the Glee Club after she had just met them and just got in the club, and she was like, you guys are assholes. And she stood up for her mom because for some reason the show doesn't want her mom to stand up for herself. So yeah, I'm giving it to Marley.
I'm going with Robin.
The baby.
Yes.
I was like, who's Robin?
The baby. Cutest baby I've seen on Glee, which is only baby I've seen on Glee.
No, you saw Beth, not your mom.
No, Robin's definitely cuter than Beth. I know you're not supposed to like rate cuteness of tiny children, but
Listen, the only thing I remember about Beth is her being a blob. So I don't like.
I just really liked it that they showed Robin. I'm sure this is the first and last time we ever get to see her. But she's become my MVP because I just want to like shout out Robin exists. Sue had a child.
Yeah.
I think I was going to go with Blaine because I really liked his cover of Imagine Dragons, but he also told Unique not to wear makeup. And I'm like, gross. So I think I'm going to go with Marley too. She Karen Cartwrighted up. And
we know you love an ingenue.
I do. She stood up for her mom and she stood up to the Glee kids. And I love that actress.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah, and I like her voice. Oh, we should clarify that she doesn't want to go to Broadway. She wants to be a singer on the radio.
That was like, it almost sounded like a 65-year-old man wrote that line for her. And then she delivered it as a 65-year-old man. I was like, what are you saying? I want to be a singer on the radio. It's so weird.
Like the Andrews sisters.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting over a cold.
Oh no.
So let's talk about the music. We had the Lady Gaga song Americano, New York State of Mind, Ave Maria.
Are we counting that one? She didn't even get we didn't. We got 2 words in.
I mean, isn't that pretty much the whole song?
Hey, there's more Latin. There's more Latin in there. Okay.
I only know Ave Maria.
Grazia plena. That's it. I just know 4 words.
The
song that Jake sang.
Don't Let Me Go.
Wait, is it Italian?
It's Latin.
Okay.
You're like, wait a second.
Chasing Pavements.
Imagine Dragons.
Imagine Dragons. It's Time. And
Call Me Maybe.
Call Me Maybe from my favorite artist, Carly Rae Jepsen. So T, what was your least favorite song?
As pained as I am to say it, I found that with the Kate Hudson song really boring. I'd rather watch paint dry on my wall over here than have to watch that again. I was so bored. I was so bored with that. So I would go with that one. I didn't know what they were singing about. I didn't know what was happening with that awful dancing. So that one's for me. What was it called?
Americano.
Dream on.
Yeah.
Dream on Americano.
Right, that's what I was. Yeah, Americano.
Yeah, it was between that and was it called "Don't Let Me Go"? The song that Jake sang.
Yeah.
I don't like Americano as a song. I did not like that cover, but I think I disliked Jake's version of that song because I don't like his voice already. Like there's a lot of nasally stuff happening, which I can't imagine that Nikki from the Glee project, the producer, would have fun with. But I don't know. So yeah, I'm going with "Don't Let Me Go." Originally by The Fray.
Alyssa?
I'm gonna go with Americano. Her voice isn't terrible, but that song is terrible. And her voice singing that song is makes it even more terrible than me trying to speak.
This song is
killing Alyssa.
Kate Hudson killed Alyssa.
Kate Hudson better pay half my rent.
Going with that one.
I'm going with Americano too. Like the moment it happened, I was like, I hate this. No, thank you.
It was bad.
Shut the door, please. Yeah. So T, what was your favorite song?
I liked the Billy Joel song, but I liked when Supergirl sang it, not when David Schwimmer or what's her name? Leah Michelle sang it. So I go with but I like the Supergirl half of New York State of Mind.
Supergirl half.
I can't think of what her name is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a different Supergirl song. I'm going with "Chasing Pavements." I love that song, and I think Marley's voice sounds really, really good with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, "Chasing Pavements."
Can you speak, Alyssa? No, she can't.
She can't.
Jesus Christ. I'm gonna go with the Cup song.
It's Time.
The Imagine Dragons one. Yeah.
It's time to begin.
Because I like that song and I like Blaine. That's it.
And she likes cups.
I like that song, but I'm going with Chasing Pavements. I really like that cover, and I really like Melissa Benoist's voice in that cover.
And it makes sense for the story, too.
Yeah. It's like a really good song. I listened to that by myself.
It's Time to Begin doesn't. Because it does.
Yeah.
It actually shockingly does make sense for the story.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's it.
We're reaching the end of our first episode of season 4. T, you have a podcast.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about it.
Well, it's a podcast that I host with my cousin Nicholas, who does really all the work. As you know, I can't do anything remotely technical or any kind of editing. Hannah one time had to show me how to use a PowerPoint.
He he's like, if I have technical issues, I'm gonna call you. So that's where he started.
And it's called Obscure Obsessions, and every week we pick a different obscure or under what we consider, well, really what I consider, because I pick the topic, movie or TV show or or they could be a bunch of them that are connected. Sometimes we'll pick a director, sometimes we'll pick an actor, and we just sort of talk about it. We talk about why we like it, or I either get angry about something, about why it's not, why don't people like it enough, or why is it not appreciated enough. And our goal really is to kind of spotlight different kinds of movies that maybe the general normal person wouldn't know anything about, or sometimes I especially will pick movies that people might put their nose up to initially, but that I think might have something kind of fun. We talk about what's the crap parts of it, but we also talk about what's good about it. And sprinkled in with my various ravings and outbursts. And we also will do episodes where we'll just recommend, like we'll surprise each other. Like I'll recommend something and he'll recommend something. And we've had fun doing it, especially since I really don't do very much except talk the whole time. And then he goes off and somehow it gets done. So it comes out every Friday, I guess, at 10 a.m. New Jersey Standard Time, also known as Eastern Standard Time. And we've enjoyed doing it. So that's our podcast, Obscure Obsessions.
You guys are on Apple, Spotify, kind of the standards, just like that.
I guess so. We're on. You can follow us on. I have my notes. When you're ready to plug, I'll plug.
Go ahead and plug away.
Okay, we're on. He wrote this down for me. We're on Instagram at Obscure Podcast, all lowercase, and we're on Twitter at Obscure Pod, capital O, capital P. Well, I've never been on the Twitter thing, so I assume it's going to be good. But you can find us there, and we post every once in a while. I'm going to start to figure out how to post on Instagram again, and we'll be doing that and having some fun with it.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to listen because I saw on your Instagram. Well, by the time this comes out, you guys will have a couple episodes. But the first episode, you guys are talking about MC Gainey.
Yeah, we talk a little bit about him. All right. Well, the first one is on we do like obscure movie quotes, I think is what the gimmick is of the week. And we talk about MC Gainey a little bit. We talk also about the Country Bears. We talk about a John Cusack movie called Better Off Dead. We talk about what's the other one? We talk about The Great Muppet Caper, which is the second Muppet movie. And so there's a lot to choose from.
Very cool. All right. So Gleeboot, we are at Gleeboot Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And then we are also on Tumblr, gleebootpod.tumblr.com.
You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at yourboyryan99, and you can follow me on YouTube at YABOI Ryan.
And you can follow me on Instagram at a.m.swearingen. And hopefully I will have some new content coming soon because I am really excited about possibly getting a Wacom display. And any artists out there who listen to this podcast will know what that is. And I'm very excited about it.
What is it?
For digital art, it's a pen display, so it hooks up to your computer and then you like draw straight on it for like digital painting in Photoshop.
Oh, interesting.
I'm so excited.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, wow. We did it, guys. Season 4, episode 1.
Yep.
Woohoo!
Tune in next week. Yeah, thank you two so much for coming on. We hope you had fun.
Well, I did. I learned everything that I had no idea what the hell was going on in that episode. I
I got to see you all again. So thanks for having me, and I would love to do it again one day. I'd love to pick another episode for me to be totally confused by. Pick the most confusing episode, and I'll watch that one.
I wonder if there's
Yay.
another Rocky Horror Picture Show one.
Yeah.
So tune in next week for another Britney Spears episode.
Yeah.
We can only assume will be done tastefully.
Wow. Okay.
Especially in light of #Free Britney.
I'm excited. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.